Uncle Ruckus has one of the most tragic and heartbreaking childhoods I'd ever heard. Even made Riley and Robert cry.
I mean, I ain't gonna cry 'cause that's gay. I cry 'cause of the story. I got allergies.
In Season 3, Episode 14, we get the story of how Uncle Ruckus grew up and how his current beliefs got to be. If you have watched the show, you already know that Uncle Ruckus has a great disdain for black people and believes he is a white man who is suffering from a skin condition called vitiligo that makes his skin black. And in this episode, we get to learn where he got this white supremacy mentality from. The episode starts with a flashback where a white man is rushing to the birth of his child on the 4th of July. The doctor tells him that there is a black patch on the arm and that it is an incurable disease that will spread all over the child's body and make him indistinguishable from a Negro. The man is horrified, snatches the baby and runs all the way to a river where he is about to drown the baby. Luckily for the baby, a police patrol spots him and he escapes. He leaves the baby on a random doorstep with some money and flees. Black couple comes out of the house and finds and adopts the white baby to raise as their own. This is the story Uncle Ruckus was told by his mother and why it all started. Fast forward to the present, and Uncle Ruckus is telling the Freemans about his childhood, and we get to learn that his childhood was all carved
is unwarranted hatred.
His mother, Bunny Ruckus, is a white supremacist who insists that Ruckus is actually a white man and was the one that instilled this whole white worship upon him. Even at the end of the episode, after we learn the full truth, she still upholds this belief, which tells us all we need to know about her state of mind and how her view of the world and herself is no doubt filled with trauma. I'm sure growing up in the 1940s and 50s as a black woman did a lot of damage to her sense of self. We see her in a blonde wig that she claims is her real hair and that her eyes are going to turn blue someday.
I'm the first colored girl you ever met with blonde hair. And one day, I'm gonna have eyes as blue as the summer sky.
And sure enough, in the present, we see her have blue eyes, which I assume are contacts. And we can see how her blind loyalty to whiteness trickled down to her offsprings. Later in the episode, when his family is coming to see Uncle's dying grandmother, Nellie, Bunny tells Ruckus about all the good things going on in his brothers' lives. One of them is working and getting promoted by a white boss, and the other is running a business and getting married to a white woman.
Uncle, did you know that Daryl is an accountant for a white finance company and just got a promotion from his white boss? And Darrell here owns his very own motorcycle shop, and he's married to a white woman.
Obviously, after all these years, she still puts whiteness on a pedestal. This is where we get to see the dynamics of Uncle and Mr. Ruckus, his father. His father starts insulting him for accomplishing nothing in his life.
Speaking of accomplishments, what you accomplished, boy?
He works hard.
And still ain't got shit, and ain't never gonna have shit. You know what that makes you? I'm Mexican.
Uncle fights back saying that his father only hates him because he's white.
You always treated me different. You never loved me because I am adopted.
And that's when he reveals the adoption story and the skin condition was a lie Bunny made up to build his self-esteem, and we get to learn the real story.
Your mama made that shit up, boy. She thought it'd be good for your self-esteem if you believed deep down you was white.
The truth is that Mr. got Bunny pregnant, which forced them to get married, and obviously with a baby on the way, he had to get a job, give up on whatever dreams he had, and this fueled Mr.'s hatred for his son. Not only had this baby become an inconvenience for his career, but his entire life. Being forced to settle down and having to find shitty jobs to sustain his family, working for the white man who abused him in the workplace, as we get to see later on, made him take his frustrations at home. We see Uncle on the receiving ends of these frustrations, being physically and verbally abused for anything, even for mistakes that weren't his.
Me out the way.
Nigga, did you just break that vase? Nigga, did I just catch you having fun? No.
Mills, I want to be a doctor when I grow up.
Nigga, did I just catch you wanting to be shit?
We also learn that his father was the reason for his physical deformity when he kicked Uncle out of his house. It is also important to mention that Uncle's father was verbally abused by his mother.
Oh, look at you. Didn't I tell you you wasn't going to be shit with your stupid, ugly wife and your stupid, ugly children? I can't wait to die so I don't have to look at your ugly black nigger ass no more. God, die.
calling him worthless and how she wanted to die ever since she gave birth to him.
You impatient? I've been waiting to die since the day you was born, you worthless bastard.
And with him, Mr. passed on this same abuse, or even worse, just the uncle, and like most abusers, he's also an alcoholic. In the present time, the grandmother dies and Ruckus and his brother are digging her grave. He asks his brother why his father had such a deep hatred for the world, and we learn of what Mr. Ruckus had to endure while outside their home. His brothers reveal how their father was abused by the white man he worked for, who took his dignity, sanity, and humanity. One of the brothers says that their father abusing them was perhaps a misguided way of trying to toughen them up for a tough world. And although there might be some truth to that, judging by the way he treated Uncle, it was definitely about resentment. You would say Uncle was a constant stabbing reminder of how everything went wrong in his life. If Bunny hadn't gotten pregnant, he wouldn't have been forced to get married, he wouldn't have been forced to work jobs he hated, he wouldn't have been abused by the white man, he wouldn't have been forced to give up on whatever dreams he had. The same way his mother blamed him for all her misfortune, he blames Uncle and everyone else except himself for all his misfortune. During Nellie's funeral, Mr. starts insulting Uncle Ruckus again about how much of a failure he is, and at this point, Uncle has had enough. He confronts him about his abusive behavior, calling out how he abused them only because his mother abused him, and that his attitude is getting old.
You've been doing it our whole lives, and it's getting old. It's getting real old, man. So get it out your system, then sit down and shut the fuck up.
This shocks everyone at the funeral, and Mr. becomes furious.
Boy, what did you say to me?
And tries to beat his son with his bottle. The constant beatings he took from the past flare up in his back, and he ends up falling into his mother's empty grave and breaks his neck, killing him. And now that his father is gone, he seems to express sympathy at his father's demise, saying he is sorry that Mr. never learned how to love the white man. Yeah, I wonder why. Later on, Ruckus says goodbye to his family, concluding that his hatred for blacks was really a subconscious hatred for his own abusive father, and that he shouldn't hate blacks for being black, but decides to feel sympathy for them for being inferior to whites. Obviously, his trauma runs deep. Even with the truth in his face, he still cannot accept who he was born, and that goes to show how brutal the force of generational trauma is. And that is sad.
A black fool hates himself so much he can't even see what's in front of him in the mirror. Just another black nigger like the rest of us.